In our online poll last night, we asked you, do you believe FBI agent Peter Strzok's anti-Trump, pro-Clinton activities are the clearest evidence yet that special counsel Mueller assembled a team designed to undermine the president at any cost? 94% of you say yes. And joining me now, Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett. Greg, good to have you here.
Good to be here, Lou.
Andrew Weissmann, we've talked about him over, the last 3 months. This is a man who's central to so many Democratic hopes, and he's right at the peak of the Mueller special counsel organization.
He's a legal thug and has a long history of abusive tactics, including hiding evidence and threatening witnesses. He is also, now we know, an anti-Trumper. By virtue of the email that was discovered by Judicial Watch and Tom Fitton. I guarantee you there are other emails that Andrew Weissmann has sent, probably to Hui Chen, who he hired over at the Department of Justice. Right. She was out protesting in front of the White House and blanketed her Twitter account with anti-Trump virulent messages.
You can't make this up.
I know.
So why in the world? We know that Mueller has conflicts. We know Weissmann has conflicts. We know Rosenstein has conflicts, the Deputy Attorney General. We know that, it's 9 of the people on his investigative team at the special counsel are Democratic donors, for crying out loud. 5 of those Clinton supporters, and there's not a single Republican on record in the entire organization.
Here's what should happen. Weissmann should resign immediately or be fired immediately. Robert Mueller's entire team should be replaced. Mueller himself should be canned. Rod Rosenstein should be taken away from anything approaching this special counsel investigation, which means Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, should can them all, fire them all.
Jeff Sessions has been paralyzed. You can talk about recusal all you want. I think the man is simply paralyzed in the post he finds himself in. He's done nothing to this point of any moment. This is a major moment. It may be too big a moment for the Attorney General himself.
Well, you know, he recused himself from the Trump-Russia probe.
Nonsense.
He can unrecuse himself for the sole purpose of getting rid of all of these partisans, including Robert Mueller. And I'm not saying kill the investigation. I'm just saying replace these people with fair, impartial, objective people.
This is not something I would want to argue too vociferously over. But I do think it's time to kill the investigation. Because first of all, the person who should be investigated is Barack Obama. These interferences, if they are that, occurred under his administration. He did nothing. He did nothing to prosecute or penalize the Russians. He finally puts forward sanctions with less than a month to go in his presidency. How upset was he? He wouldn't insist that the DNC released their servers to the FBI, which was obviously filled with his supporters and zealots. I mean, why would we continue the investigation? This is on him, not on Trump.
I'm sympathetic to you, although I don't think we want to criminalize the political decisions of a former president. But I do think...
you say they were political. We don't know the motivation.
Well, I'll tell you who did commit crimes is Hillary Clinton under the Espionage Act.
Now we're talking. Why don't we investigate her?
Absolutely.
Why don't we investigate her entire staff?
The Department of Justice should put her in front of her case in front of a grand jury.
Let me ask you a quick question, a legal question. We've got about 20 seconds here. All of those immunities that were given out under Obama, did they lapse when President Trump took over?
I haven't read the immunity agreements, but that was...
Wouldn't that be nice if
that was an example
a sell-by date on it?
Corruption by James Comey. That was corruption.
Absolutely. And the corruption remains, obviously, at the special counsel. As always, we appreciate your insight.
Good to be here.
Thank you.